Hey guys, Dov here with another replay from Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer. I'm going to be taking the Lizardmen today. We're up against the Vampire Counts, and myself and Dutch Skink had been practicing this matchup a little bit the other day. You guys saw already one replay from that. I believe that was the Kemmler versus Lizardmen video. This time we've swapped sides, and I am taking the Lizardmen here. And yeah, we've gone with a little bit of a different-ish type of build. Still pretty straightforward Monster Mash type deal, but instead of your usual like Dread Saurian or Carnosaurs, we've got two bow stegodons, the long-range artillery type stegodons with full chevron ranks. So they are rank 9. They've got significantly better refire rates and combat stats as a result. We've got a high Slon, and you can see he's already throwing down his signature spell, that Sweet Tempest, which does a lot of damage to flying single targets. Very, very good spell, and any low model units, which, I mean, most flying units are low model counts, so it's just good against flying units, let's say that. He's also got Hand of Glory to further increase reload skill, and Apotheosis, and melee attack, of course, and Apotheosis for a quick heal. All of that will, of course, trigger Shield of Safri for that 11% damage resistance. Two Skink Chief Bros on foot with their cohorts with javelins. Temple Guard with including the Star Chamber Guardians, of course. Cohort of Sotek for Unbreakable. And yeah, a couple Chameleon Skinks for some skirmishing up against the Vampire Counts. This is something that is pretty typical against the Lizardmen. We've got Blood Dragon in the air with two Terror Geese, which is, yeah, like I said, very typical. Lord of Shadows caster this time as well, just to juice up the Blood Dragon Lord there. You've got some Skeleton Warriors and two Graveguard with Grey Weapons to make up the back line with, of course, your typical meat shields up front. So yeah, with the bow stags here, you can see we've already used up a significant amount of their ammunition through that kind of skirmish phase there. The Blood Dragon, not the Red Duke, unfortunately. He's actually objectively better than the Red Duke. Has used up a lot of his magic and HP cap as well, his healing cap, just from those bow stags and from the Tempest as well. And because of those effects, he's kind of zoned out in a way. This time I actually used that effect to hit both of these Terror Geese since they're flying together. It is technically an AoE spell, so you can hit multiples there. And look at the Javelins and the Chameleon Skinks just pouring in fire here. The bow stags as well, so just all of the poison bolts and things, and we actually force this goose into crumbling. It is going to come in here and catch an Invocation of Nehek, and with the regeneration will most likely survive, and then all of a sudden things flip, and the Slon almost gets sniped in melee because that's just how Slon are. That's just a Slon life. Very quickly the Blood Dragon and the Terror Geese come in, and it's going to be a bad situation for the Slon boy. So he is popping a heal on himself, desperately trying to run away. And then we consider the other fact about stegodons that we learned recently, or at least remembered recently, is they have very high charge bonus. And so with these elite stats and the high charge bonus, we can kind of countercharge in here and force those mean flying units back up in the air. The one Goose, though, poor Goose, it was just too much. All of the poison javelins and ballista bolts and blowpipes and other things, and Tempest, and here comes another Tempest. Be locking this poor vampire in place. Let's be honest, he totally deserves it. Invocation of Nehek being used on himself there to try and keep himself alive. But you can see that healing cap very, very quickly approaching. A very nice breath, though, on those kind of blobbed up Temple Guard there. Does quite a bit of damage, but both the bow stegodons are still relatively healthy. The Slon hanging back in a more safe position at this point. Another beautiful breath attack, though, on the Star Chamber Guardians. That will keep the balance of power close, certainly, but we've still got a few javelins here we can unload on the Blood Dragon. Him and Goose are going to come in, pop that, shield the old ones, though, to help mitigate the damage. And basically, the thing about the bow stags that I love is, in this situation, anywhere the vampire goes, he's in trouble. If he's in the air, he's going to get shot at. If he comes on the ground, he's going to get charged and, you know, double-teamed, potentially triple-teamed by various units. So yeah, he just decides to fall over, and that's totally acceptable. Totally acceptable. Meanwhile, the veteran Stegs are just mopping up various infantry here. Goose is on the loose, and he comes down and tries to get on this Salon, but it's not going to be enough. The Skink Bros are also on station, and don't discount these Skink Bros. You know, there might just be little skinks with blowpipes, but I mean, they definitely got the coolest blowpipes in town. Way ornate. They also got these cool masks, and yeah, man, their whole outfit's just kind of awesome. And they do a decent missile damage. It's not amazing, but it's just a continuous plink of little bits of, you know, what is that, like 150 missile damage here and there, and the free fire rate's really good. Terror Goose and the Blood Dragon don't have amazing armor up in there either. It's only 80 armor, which is good, but it's not amazing. So yeah, they can do consistent kind of poke there, keep that missile up as well, the poison up as well. Not that you don't have poison on literally everything else, but it's something, right? So we'll keep it close as the Temple Guard continue to slug it out here. They're going to take down the Goose eventually, and the Horde of Skeletons just washing up against the Stegodons here, especially with that extra melee defense and the damage resistance and everything. They are going to be more or less immune to anything that those skeletons can muster. Skink Bros celebrating as they should. Cohort of Sotek managed to carry through without all getting killed, which is nice. But yeah, fun battle from Dutch Skink. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching that one. It's an interesting matchup. I would definitely say that it's one that the Lizardmen have an advantage in, from my perspective. Don't get me wrong, the vampire counts can definitely do some things here, but the Lizardmen, they're tough for you to deal with in some certain situations. With this is basically kind of the counter flying strategy, and this would even still be good against more of a heavy cavalry type build anyway, because the Bowstags will do consistent poke against stuff like Blood Knights. You can also shoot it, I mean, obviously, like Corpse Carts, Mortis Engines, whatever. Again, that charge bonus plus their good melee stats means they're also very strong in melee. Obviously, the Temple Guard racking up a ton of kills here. Cohort of Sotek as well. 89 kills on the Salon himself, just from, you know, floating around and zapping zombies, more or less. Yeah, a little bit rough on Dutch Sking's side. This is kind of a traditional, somewhat traditional army. I would definitely say that you want a Corpse Cart. And we were in chat as we were playing this game, and he had said that because of the Tempest and because of all the Stegodon bolts and all the damage being done to Red... I keep saying... I want to say Red Duke. It's not the Red Duke. I wish it was the Red Duke. You know, Walmart Red Duke here. Because he took so much damage, he had to allocate all of his magic to that, and he didn't have any to use on the Vampirist Lore of Shadows. He also didn't have any passive healing sources, so just in our conversation after the game, we were kind of talking about some different things. I had said, even with this build, you probably want to cut one Goose. I mean, the two powerhouse flyers are usually enough. Cut one Goose, bring like Corpse Cart, Unholy Lodestone for some passive healing. Maybe you could fit in a Mortis Engine as well for some good anti-infantry and another passive healing effect, just to kind of give you that safety net, so that if you do take a bunch of damage on your Lord, you don't necessarily have to use your magic on healing yourself with Invocation. And just generally with the vampire counts, it can be tough to kind of fit in the Lore of Shadows. Let's just kind of quickly talk about a couple things here. First, the Bowstags. I'm a huge fan, as I mentioned. Don't forget these guys are on the roster. You can use them in a number of matchups for very good utility. You don't have to Chevron them, but if you do, I mean, it's still 2,100 is expensive, but it's not bad. I mean, it's not anything outside of the realm of what you're paying for already. And like, I mean, the Thunderous one being an ancient is more expensive as a regiment of renown, right? So you're really getting some good value even with all the chevrons, I think, and especially with the defensive and healing buffs from like a High Slon or a Life Slon or whatever, with the Snare from Tempest, or you could even get a Light Slon, obviously, to net and stuff. So yeah, very, very strong stuff there. On the Vampire Count side, it can be tough to make to fit in that Lore of Shadows caster with a pretty kitted out, spell loadout. I would say most of the time you're going to want to cut most of these abilities and probably only bring like one spell, potentially. Maybe only Occam's Mind Razor if that's what you're going to go for. But even then, I mean, it's still, you're paying 1,100 points for a decent hero. Don't get me wrong, she's okay in combat, but not amazing, and you're still only getting that one spell, right? So that's why the mixed spell Bloodline Lords have some extra utility. I've been recently using the Lamian quite a bit, and I'm a huge fan because she has mixed Lore of Shadows and Lore of Vampires, and has a really good mix of those two lores. She kind of allows you to take those two together, right? Because you can still take that Occam's Mind Razor. I mean, granted, you don't have some of the effects that the Blood Dragon has, but she has her own effects. She has this melee attack debuff aura, got her own damage resistance and speed as well. You can get the magic resistance item, the Scepter of Stability, which has a lot of really nice niche uses in some matchups. And of course for ethereal units as well, it's very strong. But yeah, Occam's Mind Razor you can cast on yourself. She's also got Enfeebling Foe, Penumbral Pendulum, Wind of Death is of course very good, but it's very expensive. And then Raise Dead and Invocation. So in my opinion, she has 6 good spells, 5 like really competitive spells, I would say. Right now, Occam's Mind Razor I would definitely consider it to be competitive, and you use it correctly. Pendulum's pretty much always been, same with Enfeebling Foe and Raised Head and Invocation, so just an excellent spell loadout for her, and allows you to kind of go both in on that front. So anyway, I've rambled on long enough for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.